Hey everyone, welcome back to my indoor gardening channel. Have you ever wondered exactly what you would need to set up an indoor vegetable garden and approximately what would that cost? Well, today I'm going to give you a 2024 update for equipment and approximate costing, so stay tuned. So what I've created here, and will probably be the easiest way for me to show you all of the components, I've created a wish list for all the indoor grow tent components that need to be set up and different sizes of tents. So let's get right to it. This is a 10 by 10 tent, very similar to the one that I'm using right now. Keep in mind, this is Amazon Canada and these are Canadian prices. They do change and fluctuate quite a bit, so you can keep checking back, but you can see this one right now is $5.35 Canadian, and it's a beautiful 10 by 10 reflective tent that works for all applications if you have the space for that. So now we'll go back and we'll take a look at the next size down that I saved. Some of you may not have quite enough space. So here we have one that's half of the 10 by 10. It's a 10 by 5 size, and this fits nicely in a spare room or in the corner of your basement or anything like that. And you can see the price is around $389. There's a coupon you can apply right now. As I said before, the prices do change quite a bit. So now we'll go to one smaller option yet. And this is a 4x8 tent. So a little bit smaller, looks a little bit different, a little more compact. But as you can see, the price here is only $279 to get this set up. And again, for a bit of a smaller space. And the next one is one of the smallest ones. And this is a 2x4 tent. And this one has pretty good ratings and it's only $189.99 Canadian. And this can fit almost anywhere. You can stick it in a closet or anything like that and you can access it very easily. So that's it for the tents. Now let's get into lighting. So I have switched my indoor grow tent to LED this season, and it's a lot cheaper, and I found they were coming in at quite a good deal. So let's take a look at the one that I am actually using, and you can see here, it's actually on for a very special deal right now. This is a 2000 watt LED bulb. I have 5 of these hanging in my tent downstairs, the 10 by 10, and that's more than enough. You can see it's only 104 Canadian. Very reasonable. I've been using it for a long time and no issues with this one and a great deal. The next one, I picked another one here. This is a different brand and it has very good ratings as well. You can see it's $170 here, but you just need to look around and check out prices, and you don't have to go through Amazon, but Amazon usually has the cheapest prices, and this one would work very well as well. So I will just qualify this by saying, lighting requirements. If you have the full 10 by 10 tent, I found 5 of these 2000 watt LED bulbs work perfectly for me. If you go down to a 5 by 10, you could probably get away with 3, and so on and so forth. If you do have any questions about the lighting and approximate requirements for this, just leave me a message in this video dialogue. So now let's move on to ventilation. So you do need to ventilate your tent. So this is the same fan that I have in my grow tent. So as you can see here, it comes with a digital thermostat. I like this because it controls the fan speed and it's not running 24/7. When it cools down, it does not need to run constantly. You can see here it's $169.99 Canadian. And you can also buy this with the full ducting kit and all of that. I just wanted to show you this for illustration purposes. So that's a 6-inch, and you would need that for a 10 by 10 application tent, and probably you would still need the 6-inch fan for the 5 by 10. We go smaller than that in tenting, and we can probably go down to this one here. Same brand, it's a 4-inch fan. This one has a manual control. It's only $129.99 Canadian on here. So, for the smaller 3 tents that I showed you, that would work just fine. Again, if you have any questions, just please let me know in the comments. Okay, So now we have carbon filters. So this is recommended by me because you will get a bit of a soil smell if you're venting inside the house, and it is perfectly fine to vent inside your house. For these applications, it does not create a lot of humidity. So as you can see, this one here is a 6-inch carbon fan, the same one that I have. It's on sale for $99.99, and it just hooks up to the ducting and it gets vented out through your fan. So for the smaller tents, you would need the 4-inch connection. And here it is right here. It's only $69.99 Canadian. And again, that would work perfectly for the smaller size tents. So that's it for ventilation, and we'll move on to the next components. I should have qualified that if you are not buying a full inline fan with all the venting and the whole kit all together, you will need to buy the ducting. And here is like a good 16-foot section of 6-inch ducting. It's only $27.99 Canadian. So you may need that as well, but you can certainly find package combinations that give you the whole system. All right, let's move to indoor ventilation. So I do have a large oscillating fan because I did have that one on hand, and I'm just using that. This one works very well if you need to buy a new one, and it clips right onto your post. It's high powered. It's $76 Canadian. There's a coupon on that right now. But you probably need at least one, maybe two of these clipped onto your poles if you have the full 10x10 tent and the 5x10. And if you go smaller in the tents, you probably only need one of these, and they clip on very nicely inside the tent. All right, let's move to protection. So these are the same glasses that I have. They work extremely well. You're working with any kind of bulbs like high pressure sodium, metal halide, or the LED lights. They are very, very hard on your eyes, and you need to wear protective lenses or you will start to damage your eyes over a period of time. So you can see here, these are very reasonable, only about $19 Canadian. So let's go into growing media. So what I've done here is I've just gone to a Miracle-Gro potting mix. It's $46 Canadian. You can certainly find this maybe a little bit cheaper in your local hardware store or your local greenhouse. Again, the potting mix and the soil media is not super important because I'm going to show you how I dose the soil with additives anyway. So you don't really need to buy an expensive one that has all of the nutrients in it already, because you only need basic nutrients for growing vegetables that I will show you what I use once again. So here it is. Here's the first one. This is what I absolutely go by. I've been using for so many years, is just basic worm castings. You can see here, this is a 5-pound bag for about $30 Canadian. You can buy this locally at a greenhouse or a hardware store as well. I usually buy at least a 5 to 10 pound bag, and that lasts me for an entire year because you do want to feed fairly regularly, up to 2 weeks to 3 weeks in between cycles. And this dissolves very easily in water. If you reference my last couple of videos, you'll see that I did this already and I dissolved it. All right. So we'll move to the last other supplement that I do dose as well. And I don't do this every 2 to 3 weeks, but about every 4 to 6 weeks, Epsom salts. So Epsom salts is magnesium sulfate. Most of the soils, and especially the soils in my climate here, are magnesium sulfate deficient. So just basic unscented Epsom salts work great for tomatoes, peppers, almost every vegetable application. You just mix that in and dissolve it. I usually dissolve it under high pressure or just stirring with a stick while I'm putting it into the can, and it makes all the difference in the world. You can reference my other videos as well on how I use this nutrient as an application. Now let's get into the actual growing pots and the applications that you would need to successfully grow in your indoor tent garden. So I do use fabric bags. I've just taken this one here. This is a very good deal. I use 5-gallon bags. That usually works great for tomatoes and peas and beans and all those applications. You don't really need anything bigger. And the fabric bags are really good as they are porous and they do allow air to circulate through the roots, and that does promote more growth and more fruiting. So they're very, very popular and growing in popularity. And I started using them years ago already. You can see very inexpensive, and they will last for a long, long time. So with these pots, you will need protective saucers. So tons of these on Amazon. You may find them locally as well. Usually Amazon is cheaper. You need at least a 12-inch size, and you can see here that this is a 12 pack of 12-inch, fairly deep black, solid plastic trays for only $37 Canadian. Very reasonable, and that they will last for a long, long time. You just have to clean them out every season, and you'll have these for years to go. Okay, one of the last things that you will need once you start having vigorous growth, especially with tomatoes and climbing vegetables like peas as well, you will need some sort of support. You can use basic tomato cages, but these pots, these fabric pots, are much more narrow. So you do need something that's modular, in my opinion. And I use these. This is a full modular staking set. So it's built as a tomato cage. It works for almost every application for any kind of vine that you're growing. And they work extremely well. You can take them apart, you can add layers, and they're very easy to put together. And you can clip your plants to it very, very simply. So I hope that little tutorial for the equipment that you need to set up an indoor garden and the approximate costs is really going to help you with your endeavor. I just please ask everyone to remember to subscribe and to hit the reminder bell at the bottom to be reminded of my next video. You will see in my next videos, I will be starting some seedlings for early season planting in my climate here in Canada. Have a great day, everyone.